So, intermittent fasting buys a lot of advantages, reducing insulin enough that insulin resistance can be reduced, thus reversing diabetes and burning excess fat off your belly and butt. See my previous video about what I think intermittent fasting is the way to go for the vast majority of folks, even if they're not yet fat or diabetic. Hi, I'm Jackie from reversingdiabetes.life. Here to talk about why bother with extended fasting if intermittent fasting is so advantageous. So, I'm 58 years old and was diagnosed with T2 diabetes at age 27, 31 years ago. But given I was overweight all the way back in high school, I expect I've been insulin resistant most of my life. I'm still overweight today, but literally smaller than I was in high school. Insulin resistance has been with me a long, long time. The vast majority of my life, certainly at least since age 16 or so, 42 years ago. So, suppose the healing that happened as fast as the damage did. If we assume that's true, it would take me to age 100 to reverse the damage. What are the odds some of the damage won't kill me before then? The vast majority of us don't live to 100 even without decades of diabetic damage. I was literally on the verge of death when I began, so very, very desperate. I didn't have years to fix things. I needed to fix them fast. I had a vague notion that I should start off with a 2-week fast because one of Dr. Fung's videos cited research that 80% of liver fat was gone in 2 weeks of fasting, which I assumed would have a profound effect on my health. I didn't end up going that long, but it was the idea I began with. A lot of people who have a lot of healing to do like to do extended fasts, and some add extended fasts to more rapidly lose weight also. But my favorite thinking about this is from my friend Anna, who says it's giving your body a vacation. As a general rule, our bodies are either in building up mode or tearing down mode. When fasting was more of a part of everyday life than it is now, we had a balance between those two modes that kept us relatively strong and healthy compared to today. Tearing down doesn't sound so great, but it's important work our bodies do for us. The first type of tearing down is called apoptosis, which is programmed cell death. We've known about this for decades, even way back in the dark ages when I was in college and grad school when dinosaurs walked the earth. The very idea that cells are programmed to die sounds ominous, but some cells are supposed to die after a while, like skin cells. We have new skin cells growing all the time in the lower levels of our skin, in the deep layers, and the top layers die and fall off and become dust. And if they didn't, we'd all have 6, 8, 10-inch skin. So they're supposed to be temporary. That's their function. That's how they work. There's also apoptosis when cells are damaged, like by radiation or toxins. It's extremely important that damaged cells die rather than stick around to reproduce. If they reproduce fast, that's what we call cancer. So we can think of apoptosis as taking out the garbage, some of which is just the ordinary day-to-day garbage, like skin cells, and some of which is toxic waste. The other tearing down mode has just recently been discovered, and that is called autophagy. Autophagy happens inside cells. I need to back up just a tad and explain a little bit of biochemistry. We have to understand how things work in order to fix them, but I promise it's very little and won't hurt too much. Okay, so everything that happens in your body and every cell are chemical reactions which are made to happen by proteins that are called enzymes. Many enzymes need either a mineral or vitamin attached to them to work properly, which is why nutrition is important. The enzymes work because they are a particular shape. It's like a lock and key situation. A specific enzyme makes a specific reaction happen because of the way it fits. But if the enzyme's broken, it won't fit quite right and might not work at all anymore. And now a tiny bit of biology to go with your biochemistry. Every cell in your body has component parts inside which are called organelles. Just as our whole body has organs for specific functions, a heart to circulate the blood, lungs to oxygenate the blood, kidneys to cleanse the blood, and a brain to understand the blood or to make silly jokes. The cells have various bits that do various things for the cell. The Golgi apparatus transports things around. The mitochondria produce energy for the cell, and the nucleus is sort of the brain that tells the cell how to heart or kidney or whatever, for whatever kind of cell it is. Just as enzymes can become damaged and not work for reactions anymore, so can organelles be broken and not working well. And there's an organelle in charge of that. It's called a lysosome. The lysosome is sort of the digestive system of the cell. It eats things and digests them down to their component parts. So damaged organelles or misshapen enzymes get sort of recycled down to parts, which can be used to rebuild. This is why there's a Pac-Man in many of my videos, because when I first heard of autophagy, that's the image that came to mind, a Pac-Man running around eating all the bad bits. But that's the other half of healing. Besides breaking down the bad bits, they need to be reused to rebuild. Rebuilding requires nutrition. It requires good food. And I won't get into nutrition right this moment, else this video might go on for days. Not kidding. There's a tricky balance here between building and tearing down. Both are needed for health. And when I think of the rebuilding going on, I think of the opening from the $6 Million Man. Steve Austin, astronaut. A man barely alive. Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology. We have the capability to make the world's first bionic man. Steve Austin will be that man, better than he was before. Better, stronger, faster. In the Jackie version, though, instead of saying that, it says trimmer, stronger, healthier. Autophagy is turned on by fasting. I believe we get some of it with intermittent fasting, eating 1, 2, or even 3 meals a day, but some of us need more than that to get well. So extended fasting comes into play. I need to add something important here. Even though I'm not any kind of healthcare professional, I've got some warnings. And I just need to reiterate, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I'm not a chiropractor, I'm not even qualified to give a manicure. And while I used to be a biochemist, my education is very far out of date. I'm just an old lady who reversed her own diabetes and has coached scores of other folks to do the same and wants to get this information out there. Okay, about fasting. Sometimes you need more building than you do tearing down. For example, children are growing rapidly and need 3 meals a day. As mentioned in my last video, they don't need snacks and juice boxes and all on top of that, but they do need protein, fats, vitamins, and minerals to build strong bodies. I also feel very strongly that pregnant or breastfeeding women should not fast, as they are building an entire other human, which also requires a great deal of high-quality nutrition. Finish your human making first, and you can fast later. So there are times we definitely do need to focus on building, but many of us have focused on it entirely for too long and are very unbalanced. My belly and butt definitely spent way the heck too much time building and not enough time tearing down. And as I've lost weight, my skin has all these wrinkles that need to be torn down too. Fasting is what turns on the tearing down process. What makes that little Pac-Man start gobbling all the bad bits in your cells and eating very well is what turns on rebuilding to make you trimmer, stronger, and healthier. If you want to think about what this might look like for you, check out the free ebook I've put together about what diabetics should know when using fasting and a ketogenic diet to reverse diabetes. Because we can kick diabetes to the curb.